The first-class cabin was quiet, expensive quiet, the kind where people whispered instead of laughed. Soft leather seats, warm lighting, champagne already poured, and in seat 2A sat a woman who didn't belong there, at least. That's what they thought. She wore faded jeans, combat boots, and a plain gray hoodie. No jewelry, no makeup, her hair tied back tight. She stared out the window, calm, unreadable. The man across the aisle kept glancing at her, his lips tightening in disgust. Finally, he pressed the call button. A flight attendant hurried over. "Sir, I think there's been a mistake," he said loudly. "This is first class." The attendant looked at the woman, then back at the man. "Her ticket is valid, sir," he scoffed. "Look at her. You really expect us to believe she paid for the seat?" A few passengers nodded. Someone whispered, "She probably snuck in." The woman didn't react. She'd heard worse, much worse. The attendant leaned down to her. "Ma'am, can I see your boarding pass?" Again she handed it over without a word. Before the attendant could even scan it, another passenger chimed in. "This is ridiculous. First class is supposed to be exclusive." The woman finally spoke, her voice steady, low. "If there's a problem, I can move." That was all it took. "See," the man said, "even she knows she doesn't belong here." The attendant hesitated, uncomfortable, then nodded. "Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to step out while we sort this out." The woman sighed quietly, stood up, and reached for her bag. As she turned, her hoodie lifted slightly, and that's when it happened. Right there, etched across her upper back, partially visible above her shirt collar, was a tattoo. A trident, an eagle, a skull, the unmistakable insignia of the U.S. Navy SEALs. A murmur rippled through the cabin. The flight attendant froze. At that exact moment, the cockpit door opened. The pilot stepped out, silver hair, sharp eyes. He scanned the cabin, then his gaze locked onto her back. His face changed instantly. "Ma'am," he said loudly. Everyone turned. She stopped walking. The pilot took 2 steps forward and did something no one expected. He stood straight and saluted. The cabin went dead silent. "Chief Petty Officer," he said, carefully. "Is that you?" She turned slowly, recognition flickering in her eyes. "Captain Reynolds." The color drained from the passengers' faces. The pilot's voice was firm now. "This woman flew with my brother's unit overseas. She saved lives. She earned every inch of respect in this aircraft." He turned to the flight attendant. "Why is she standing in the aisle?" The attendant stammered. "Yes, sir. There were complaints." The pilot looked at the first-class passengers, the suits, the whispers, the judgment. "Let me be clear," he said. "She's not moving. Anyone who has a problem with that is welcome to take a seat in economy." No one spoke. The man who complained stared at the floor. The pilot turned back to her, his voice softer. "It's good to see you alive," she nodded. "Likewise, sir." He stepped aside. "Please, take your seat." As she sat back down, the cabin felt different, quieter, smaller, ashamed. A few minutes later, the flight attendant returned, not with an apology rehearsed from policy, but a genuine one. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I shouldn't have judged." The woman looked up. "Most people do." The plane took off smoothly, rising above the clouds, and as the passengers stared ahead, pretending not to notice her anymore, one truth hung heavy in the air. They didn't kick her out of first class because she didn't belong. They tried to kick her out because they couldn't imagine someone like her earning it.